That's me. Look at this. If you haven't discovered CS, I was playing CS since 2002. I never thought CS would be a way for me to make a living ever. Neither did my parents. I remember going to a local LAN center every single day for over a year. When I was a sophomore in high school. I discovered CS with when my friends came one day to school. And they were talking about their weekend, and all of them were just like talking nonstop. They were like, "Dude, oh my god, this game Counter-Strike!" Like I remember I was sitting there, in a group of friends, and they were talking to each other about how they played Counter-Strike at a LAN center that past weekend, and I remember looking at them, and as they were describing the game, I remember just in my head thinking like, oh my god, like I wanna see, like I wanna play this game so bad. Like they were talking about everything. Like they were talking about how like you are terrorist versus counter-terrorist, and you have to go in and you buy guns, and you gotta. They were playing oil rig mainly, VIP. They were talking mainly about the VIP maps, right? From that one interaction with my friends, I told them, I said, "Hey guys," I said, "are you guys going again next weekend?" I said, "If you are, call me. I want to come." And they're like, "For sure, yeah, we'll take you." Next weekend rolls around. The LAN center is literally right by my house. It's I didn't even know. I didn't know LAN centers. I didn't know none of that shit existed. I go over there. I start playing, and I'm learning how to play and everything. And it's like, I walked into a area, like there's about 30 computers. It's packed. Everyone's playing. And I get on a computer. Someone, teaches me how to like log in and all this shit, and they're already logged into predetermined their own accounts. Like I didn't have my own personal account, no settings, I didn't know anything about it. I just jumped into a game, and I'm playing in a pub with everyone else at the LAN center, and people are talking shit to each other and yelling at each other across the rooms and everyone, and I'm like thrown in, and I'll never forget it, dude. Like I sit down and I start playing, and then in the blink of an eye, it's been 10 hours, and my parents are calling me to come home, and they're outside the LAN center picking me up. It's like I played for 10 hours straight like it was nothing. All pubs. All we did was just pub. All we did. And after that day, I literally started going every single day. It started at weekends. I would go every weekend, but then I got addicted, and I would go every single day. And the way the LAN center worked was like you just pay like $15 for the whole day. Problem was, the LAN center really didn't keep tabs on what was going on, so there were days where I would go and I wouldn't pay at all. I would just go in and I would play, and that's it. They wouldn't even know that if I paid. They'd ask, "Did you pay?" And I'd go like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, come on." That's it. Like, dude, I'll never forget that. LANs are where it's at. The good times. I spent so much money going to that LAN center that year that my dad literally made me a deal. He said, "Listen, if you don't go to the LAN center anymore, I'll buy you a computer here and I'll get you internet here." And I said, "Okay." I made a deal with him. I said, "If you do that, I'll stop going to the LAN center." He did that. I finally had my own PC at home, and dude, I remember the first time I connected, I had DSL. Just got new DSL. I was so happy. I was playing at the LAN center's server from my house, and then slowly, dude, I preferred the LAN center, and then a newer LAN center opened, and I was there all the time. But at that point, like, I was a little bit older, and I've been more experienced, so I used to go to that. I was like a veteran at that LAN center. I was like one of the good players. Dude, long story short, I got. The very first time I heard about professional gamers was Team 3D. I was at that first LAN center. The people that owned it were like these two guys. They were young. They were like in their 20s, but they were like big time CS players, and they were on a professional team at the time. They played matches. Now I don't want to say professional like they were really good, but they played Cal, and they played against top teams back in the day. Like they would play against teams like 3D and shit back in the day, right? From those guys, I watched them play, and I learned they were from Fresno, California. We're all in Fresno, California. I watched these guys play for the first time ever, and I would watch them watch demos of Team 3D and watch matches of Team 3D. And that's when I first learned about like 3D Moto, Volcano, or Volcano wasn't even on the team yet. It was like Moto. It was a guy named Steel, like the original Steel, like old school. There was a Torbull was like the owner and manager, probably the first manager ever. I forgot all the players. But I eventually kept following Team 3D throughout everything, and I found OK Sharp was a big name on there, and I found Method. Dude, I was such a big fan of all the 1.6 players. Like I watched all of it. So I was such a fan of 3D that when I finally made it big in Source, when I was finally one of the top players in Source, I was shell shocked when I played against Team 3D in CS Source for the very first time. I'm talking. These are guys I literally grew up watch. I was the biggest fucking fan of these guys. I was a fan. I even liked all the NOA was my favorite team back then because I thought that was so cool. How and that's why Method was one of my favorite players because NOA was a literal pug of players that only came together to play LANs, and then they would not play online at all. There was no online left and right. For them, they never played online. They literally just would come together, boot camp, win a LAN, and then we won't see them again till the next LAN. Executor, Element, BSL, there was a guy named Knoxville on the team at 1.2. All of them, Shad and Method were the ones from America. I was huge fans of them. And Shad, I was actually a big fan of Shad as well. Shadwar, but when I was playing Source, I was on the best team in Source. Team 3D switched over to Source because there was a lot of money in Source. Then they came to us and asked us to help them boot, like they asked us to help them get better. So we played them all the time. We made Team 3D better than him. It was Rambo, Volcano, K-Sharp, Shad, and Mikey Method. Those were the five that played us. That team was really good, and they came to Source, and they sucked at first, but then they got really good really fast, and they ended up beating us at the very first LAN that we played them. We were upper bracket, we beat them in the upper bracket finals, they went through lower bracket, and they beat us. Shad was the first time I met them in real life, and I made like a joke to Shad, like I thought I was funny, and he like was kind of a dick to me. Like he did so, he's like, oh yeah, do you think that's funny or something like that? And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I was completely like thrown off by him.
Yeah.
Eventually, we got to become better friends, but my first impression with him was this guy's a douchebag. Another team that I was a big fan of was a team called Weekend Warriors. I was a West Coast player. Fun story, my very first LAN ever was on a team called Two God. We were based out of Fresno. We were all friends that LAN together all the time. I'm skipping through a lot of shit, but my very first real team was a team called Two God. We played Cal Open, and we made it from Cal Open all the way to Cal P together as a team. We went to our very first LAN. It was a LAN called SpiderNet in SoCal, okay? We went there, and our very first match was against a team called Tag, and our second match was against at the time. If you guys knew this, this West Coast scene, there was only like two really good fucking teams. It was like Weekend Warriors, and it was a team called Rival, and there was eventually a team called Cyber Power, Cyber Globe. There it is, John. Yeah, they were based out of NorCal. That's how you know that. So we lost to a team called Tag, and then we played Rival, but it was Rival with a PUD. So it was like all the top Rival players plus like they had a Orgasmo. He was a really good player. Long story short, we got dead last at our first LAN ever. I remember begging my parents to let me go. They went to LA with me to drop me off at this LAN, and they decided like they'll go shopping and we'll stay in LA for the weekend. They dropped me off. 2 hours later, I told them, oh, it's gonna be an all-day thing. I'll probably like won't see you guys till like 10 p.m. 2 hours later, I'm calling them to pick me up. We were out. Eventually, that LAN, the team that won that LAN was Weekend Warriors. We didn't play them, but I watched them. I was like, oh my god, this is Woo. These guys are the best. WEW. I was like a big fan. Fast forward to CPL 2005 when we went. I went to my very CPL 2005 or 2004. I forgot which one it was. It was my very first CPL ever. Okay, Source was there. I was a Source player at that point. I was with a complete PUD. There's a video somewhere. It's funny because Jared remix. They 2005. We went to 2005. John, there's a video of me at the 2005 CPL with this is a complete PUD. I literally paid my way to CPL. I had a girlfriend at the time. I paid her way. aka my dad, gave me money to go. We brought our own computers with us to the LAN so we could boot camp, and then we played at CPL. Here's like a short story of the team. I was on the team with Jared Remix. That's me. Look at this. And Anger was on my team, so that's Anger that still plays. This guy's name is Remix. This guy's name is Fate, and this guy's name is Mikey Fats. This is just a funny ass. We were team raised. Isn't that funny? Yeah, the same Remix. There's Anger when he was younger. Just as awkward as he is now. Mikey Fats, dude. That's a fucking character, man. Look at the CRTs. In Texas, look how many people. This was a huge. This was the biggest LAN event of the ever. Like all the gamers went to this. CPL was like everything. We had like, it's so funny because we had like a group of guys that came in. They were like they documented it like as if we were a real org. I think I was on that. Yeah, MX518. MX518 right there. It was the 510 and the 518, the old one. I was just skinny. I was skinnier. Obviously. This LAN we got 15th to 18th place. Like that was our official place in 15th to 18th. But statistics wise, I was one of the top 5 statistical players at this event. And because of that, the team that placed second was a team called Upper Gaming, led by a guy named Hatshot. He saw the stats and he literally took his second place team. He cut everyone on that second place team and recruited 4 new players, me being one of them. Upper placed second at CPL. First place was a team called Powers Gaming, with Clown and War Machine and a guy named Nightfall, and I forgot the others. And POS was on the team, I think, when they had Nightfall too. Basically, that was the top team. Powers Gaming was the very first CPL champs. They were the best team in the world. Upper was the second best team in the world, okay? That Upper team, he cut his whole team and he picked up 4 new players, okay? He literally picked us up, and then we got picked up by Weekend Warriors. We became the Weekend Warriors source team. We boot camped in SoCal with the Weekend Warriors 1.6 team. I'll never forget it. We got invited down. We went for 1 week. We were in SoCal practicing at a LAN. And the whole time I was there, I was sitting next to the 1.6 team right next to me. And I got to meet all my fucking idols. Patio John, Bombs, Woo. I'm forgetting names right now. But there was just like all these star athletes. They were literally sitting next to me watching me play Source. And they were like, hey, man, yeah. Like they were giving, and I was asking them for like pointers on stuff and shit. And I was such a big fan of them, right? There was a big tournament called LANFest. It was 3 weeks after CPL. So it's been 3 weeks. 1 week, I got home. It took within that week, I was picked up by Upper. Within that second week, or within the first 2 weeks, I got picked by Upper. We practiced 1 week, and then the next week we practiced. It was on LAN at a boot camp, and then it was the tournament, LANFest 2005. I came in and I played with, we had a completely new roster. We had like Hackshot was the only one from his original roster, and 4 new guys: Hollywood, Fleshy, Cadaver, and me. And these guys were like really good SoCal or West Coast players. Powers Gaming was at LANFest 3 weeks later. These are the CPL champions, right? We go in, and Weekend Warriors had 2 teams. Had the 1.6 team that was competing in the 1.6 tournament at that same LAN, and the Source team that was competing, which is me, competing at the Source tournament. We played the whole LAN, whatever. We made it to the finals against none other than Powers Gaming. The first place prize was a brand new $5,000 computers each. It was like a $25,000 prize pool. The computers were insane. They were like huge, gigantic computers. We play that tournament, motherfuckers. We win. We take out Powers Gaming. We beat them in a best of 3. I think Disciple was at this tournament too. I remember meeting him for the first time. He was with Team Forbidden. I think they got 3rd. And we became the #1 team in the world at that point. We won. We got the computers. I remember driving back home from LA with my girlfriend. My car broke down. It overheated. And I had a huge computer. And my dad had to drive down to LA to pick me up. That's how sad it was. But I was so happy, no matter what. I was so happy that we won. Everyone, I remember it was one of those things, dude, like, you pay attention. There was a forum called gotfrad.com, and I remember like as soon as we won, I just checked my phone and I had all these phone calls and texts from people congratulating me, all these players, emails, everyone messaging me on Gotfrad telling me like, "Oh my God, Mo, I can't believe you did it. Hell yeah, blah blah blah." I get home, and for that week we're practicing, we're playing online, we're having fun. The team is getting good, but we're like at the same time we're like, you know, we're sponsored. We have Weekend Warriors, but there's no money. We're not making any money, and we're not getting really commitment from Weekend Warriors to send us to a lot of lands or anything. So what happens? Clown from Powers Damon reaches out to me. He literally comes to me and he's like, "Hey man, we're in a process right now. Like we want to cut Nightfall. We're not working out with him, and we'd like to bring you." And they were cutting another guy named, like, I think his name was Wukev, and he was just like a role player, and he wanted me. He wanted me to join the team, and he wanted Hatshot, me and Hatshot. So that pretty much kills our normal team. We thought about it. Me and Hatshot thought about it for like 3 days straight, and then we like finally were like, dude, like we might have a future here with Powers Gaming. Like we're not gonna be like Powers Gaming is already. Powers Gaming was like, it's like having Cloud9 come in and want you, because they had money, and they were spending money, and they were sending their teams to lands, and they were even paying like. I don't know if they were paying a salary at that point, but they were sending us to every single land, which is pretty much all you want. You know what I mean? You want them to send you to. There was like 10 lands happening every fucking 6 months. So like you wanted to get into as many of those lands as you could. Long story short, we joined them. We killed our Weekend Warriors team. Our other teammates were really mad at us. Me and Hatshot joined the team. We went to and ever since that point, I joined Powers Gaming. Me and the core of me. Clown, War Machine, POS, we kind of kept that core players forever. We Hatshot Kate was with us for one tournament, and then they ended up cutting him because they weren't happy with the way he called. We ended up picking up, I think, POS at that point. I don't even remember, but I was on that team for like 4 years. We won everything. We were the best team in the world in Source. And Flom was just starting out back then too, but we were the best. And Powers Gaming turned into a bunch of other names. We went from Powers Gaming to Check 6 to EF Gaming, and eventually San Francisco Optics. And I remember the day I played CS Source. I was playing CS 1.6 at the time with my team. We were CalP. I tried the beta of Source, and I decided right there and then that I'm switching full time to this game. And that's why I'm telling people now, if you're young, you're hungry, you like Valorant, you like the way it feels right now, throw everything you have into it and forget about Counter-Strike. Focus on this new game. This is a chance for new players to come in and make a name for themselves. Take advantage of it. You guys should be fucking playing nonstop. I'm an old man. I'm not going pro in anything. But you guys can. I have a baby on the way. In about a week, I'm going to have you won't see me for at least 2-3 weeks. I'm going to have a baby. I don't even know when I'm going to be back. And just so you guys understand, when the cheating thing happened, it wasn't like in a competitive like match or anything. It was in an ESEA PUD, and the cheating happened because I made bad decisions on who I surrounded myself with back then. These guys that were in my street, like basically I was getting DDoS by this guy for a year and a half straight, and I decided to make friends with them to stop the DDoS. And literally, like, if you can't beat them, join them type thing. So the DDoSing stopped, but then it started getting more and more like, hey, we want to play with you here. Hey, leave your pro team, join us. Hey, we want to make this. And then, hey, like, basically, somehow, and the promises of being paid, like, they were going to pay me to play with them in open if I left my invite team. And this guy was supposed to be some rich guy, but he really was just a big scammer. Who knows what the real deal is? But I was like, just all at that point, and you got to understand, there was zero money. There was skins weren't a thing yet. Nothing was a thing. It was just kind of like, there was no money. There was no announcements of tournaments, nothing. And I'm thinking like, all right, man, and streaming for me, as much as I loved streaming back then, it was so early on that streaming made absolutely $0 for me. So I thought, all right, if I could make a money streaming and playing with this guy, and at that time, a lot of the teams that I was playing with, or they didn't want me to stream matches. They didn't want me to stream practice. So I looked at it as a way, all right, I'm going to leave the invite roster, which was at the time basically or ESEA invite at the time would have been equivalent to ESL Pro League right now. Like, that's the spot we had. I had an invite spot that I controlled, and I I gave the spot away to a friend just to leave and go and play open with these guys, so I could stream more and I could make money with them. But their ways of like, we don't want you to leave. You know, here's how we're gonna guarantee that you don't leave our lineup. You're gonna have to download these cheats with us. And I was like, but why? Like, we didn't even like. The crazy part is they did, no one used the cheats that they made me download. No one used those cheats in a match ever. Like, we just won match because it was open. It was, I told them, dude, we're in open. We don't need to use this shit. But this was security to them. But I did use it in a PUD to when I first got him, and I admit it. But it was the 2 PUDs from that one day, and that was it. Got caught up. I understand. Took my year ban. That year ban, in that year, all the blowing up of CSGO stuff happened. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take part in that part. And that's what happened. That's how I missed out on CSGO. My last shot at a pro game was, or being pro, was with Echo Fox. Had the team, handpicked the team, had the drive at the beginning, and then as I played more and more, I got more and more like, okay, dude, like, this isn't for me. I can't practice like they need me to. I can't be here as much time as they want me to. I feel like I'm letting this team down. I can't do this anymore. So I made the decision. I was the pretty much, I was the manager, general manager, whatever it was. I was the leader of Echo Fox. So I got to pick. I had full control over the roster. So I decided to take a step back, and I brought Shazam in. One thing about Echo Fox that you guys don't know is I made sure everyone on that roster, on that team, got paid really fucking good money. I took zero. I didn't make $1 in salary from Echo Fox, not once. Because I wanted Sean Deers, I wanted Roka, I wanted fucking, you know, at the time I picked A2Z and TCK. I wanted these people on the team. I put money. I wanted Echo Fox to put a bunch of money in it, and I gave it to them. I always saw, dude, like, I'm ready to go pro. You know, I have the drive, like, I can still compete. I really want to play, and I want to show the world. Like, when I was with Tort, when we made Tort with Steel, me, Deborn, Monty, and TCK, we were making that team to compete, to be the #1 NA team in the world. Like, we were ready. We were playing to be #1. We were beating By Power. We were the only team, like, not the only, because it was the only time they got to play, but By Power, there's like a YouTube video when By Power picked up Sta and Hito and Dazed, and they were making that super lineup. We beat them. We beat them in an official match. We were the only team to beat them. And that was the only time they lost, and we beat them. And then after that, we were all getting excited for MLG LAN. We were going to go to ClutchCon, and then MLG, and then boom, the ban hammer drops. I lose overnight. My team is dead. I was the only one. I had to scramble to get a lineup for ClutchCon because I already had my tickets and my hotel booked. I went to ClutchCon. I found, luckily, Frost was he was our coach. He's like, I'll come. Boom, that's Frost. Then I asked Sta. Sta was down because his team just fucking died out of nowhere. So Sta's like, fuck it, yeah, I'll go. And I asked Summit and I asked Desi. We took that 5. We went to ClutchCon, dude. We beat Liquid. We beat Flom's team. We beat everybody. And then we lost in the double elimination, I think, to Liquid again, because we ended up playing Liquid again. In ATA groups. We beat Liquid in groups and Flom's team. We were #1 in our group. We went into the tournament. Somehow we got matched with Liquid again, and this time they beat us in like a very close, like, best of 3 type shit. It was fun. It was a fun time. But at that point in time, Tort, like, losing Tort like that, we had big plans for Tort. Me and Steel we were gonna make our own org. We were gonna fund it ourselves. We were going to bring in sponsors. We were going to stream every day. We were going to make it big. All that died overnight. That was, to me, like the one of the final hits to my career that I was like, man, we were so close to, like, we were about to be a top. Like, I remember Cloud9, I remember Shroud was saying that we're already a top 2 NA team before we even beat he ranked us and Cloud9 at the time, with Sean Deers and Semphis and Shroud. He ranked us and them as the top 2 teams. Like we were on our way to being, like, we were talking to sponsors. We were talking to, like, CLG. We were talking to EG. We were talking to a lot. We were talking to EG. So was I By Power. We were also talking to CLG. We were talking to a bunch of other orgs about being their org if we didn't make our own. That's what made us decide to make our own, because we were talking to EG first, and then when we knew EG was going to go with the I By Power guys, we decided to do our own. Yeah, we had Nitro for a day. Days was already done. We picked up Nitro in place of, we didn't have Deborn yet. Yeah, Days was our fifth. So we picked up Nitro for Dazed. And we played with him one day and it just didn't work out. We're like, dude, it's not working out with this kid. Let's get someone else. We tried out another couple dudes as well before we landed on Deborn. Anyway, after that, I think that was the last time, my last chance right there. Like that was like, after that team died, I didn't have anything left in me to go out and compete. And I tricked myself into thinking I had it when I played with Tort, with the Echo Fox, but I didn't. At that point, I was game wise, everything wise, I was gone. Like I couldn't do it.